I mean, obviously that's not the way it works, but I still would like to know. Because the way the kid plays is just incredible. But he just has a way of just saying the wrong things that a good leader doesn't say. You know, I asked Anthony Puccio earlier today. I said, and he probably won't respond. Like it's hard for Anthony. I think Anthony's a very good reporter. I think he's got a bright future, but obviously he has to he's an access journalist. So how critical what he can say, and he said some things recently that opened my eyes, and over the summer I didn't love the cheerleading for, you know, the players who had done so much for the team to get to this point to leave. Like I just didn't. I'm just always wary about when superstars come into a team, because if you don't grow that superstar, if you buy that superstar, if you bring it in as a fully grown superstar, unless that person is a different kind of person, it comes with toxicity. Boston went through that, right? And they don't have better players this year, but they are a better team. I hate saying it. I hate Boston. I hate Boston more. I enjoy the Nets beating Boston way more than I enjoy the Nets beating the Knicks. And I enjoy the Nets beating the Knicks. The banter is just incredible after. But we can't stick our heads in the sands to these things, Nets fans. There's Nets fans that aren't talking to each other and are mad and are mad at each other. Not just the ones that are mad at me. Everybody gets mad at me. Nobody likes smart dudes. Nobody likes the guy who just asks the hard questions. I'm always going to be polarizing. I'm always going to be that guy everybody hates on Twitter. But we can't stick our heads in the sand to what could potentially happen and who needs to be ultimately held responsible for what is happening. Superstars don't come to places to lose. There's so much at stake. When you are a superstar like Kyrie Irving, like I said, on Flatbush Ave, an entire building of New York City property was painted in Kyrie propaganda to sell his sneakers. He is a $1 billion sneaker business. And if he sucks, and if he gets attached to losing, that business goes away. So it can't be Kyrie's fault. You know, there's an ego in a basketball player. And you want that basketball player to have that ego, that confidence, that arrogance to believe, I'm so good, I'm going to take this last shot and hit it. And we've seen Kyrie do it. But there's also a toxicity in that type of player. That when you find one that's a star, and he's humble, and he's happy to be there, that's a value that I don't think basketball fans have learned to appreciate. And so it polarizes us. Some of us recognize it. Some of us know that in your job, there's always somebody who can't be fired that's just a jerk. You don't know if they're a jerk because that's their personality, or because the organization needs them so badly they just act an ass. I don't know. But when I build engineering teams, I always try to remove that guy from my team immediately, because he won't make meetings, he won't ship product, he won't make deadlines, and so then I don't ship products and I look bad. When you have to be a leader of men, in whatever field it is, and whatever it is you do, you have to recognize the toxicity and recognize that it's poisoning an organization from within, or you don't have a shot. You know, I think Kyrie was being too honest in his quote, right? We've seen this before. LeBron did it to Brandon Ingram and Lonzo Ball and Hart and those kids that got shipped. Right. It's never the vet's fault. Kyrie had nice things to say about Garrett Temple. Garrett Temple fucking sucks. Let's stop playing games. He's a great gentleman. I understand why they call him the president. And I don't say these things to hedge my criticism. I just think it's unfair to have to say somebody who's pretty much a great guy is not a good basketball player. But for some reason, Kyrie Irving thinks this dude brings something that Jarrett Allen, who was 17 and 10 last night. 17 and 10. How can he be asked to guard Ben Simmons and guard Horford? And he bust Horford's ass last night. He made Horford look old. But he got no love and he should have. And I'm sorry, I cannot help. And this is what I asked Anthony earlier. I said, listen, we had D'Angelo Russell on a theoretically worse team last year. And he never made his teammates feel small. No matter how trash they are, no matter what mistakes they made. Jarrett Allen wasn't this good last year. But he gave him confidence. He made the game easier for him. He made the kids around him better. And we can't stick our heads in the sand and pretend like it's not happening and go, Kyrie's a superstar. Kyrie's a superstar. Shut up. Shut up. I don't want to hear it. Kyrie is a superstar. I've said it a million times. I've never seen a better player in a New York basketball team's uniform. Right? But he doesn't galvanize a team like Jason Kidd. The number one thing that Jason Kidd did on the court, and I don't know if he did it off the court, because off the court, there's a lot of evidence that he's a douchebag. But on the court, he was an orchestrator. He created symphonies on that court. He made Mickey, whatever his name, rich catching alley-oops. And Nets fans, we have to face it. We haven't been better with him on the court. And I'm telling you, it is not Kyrie's fault. It's what's creating this negative. He says it with a smile. He says it pretty cheerfully. He knows what his reputation is, but he's trying to give an honest answer and be candid at the same time. He's speaking his heart. But like the flat earth thing, he's dead wrong. The greatest basketball players that ever played, when they become GMs, they are horrible at it. Magic Johnson was a basketball virtuoso. He was a shit GM. Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player to ever step on an NBA court. He is a terrible owner, and he was a worse talent evaluator as a GM. So the worst people to listen to about basketball players is superstars. They don't understand. They're superstars. They know they could do it. Why can't you? They don't make for good coaches. Journeymen make great coaches because they get good habits. They try to do little things. They soak up and listen to the coach, because if they don't do all of those things that are necessary to maintain and stay in the league, a guy like Sean Marks doesn't make it. So he's always absorbing the little things, the little things, the little things, the little things. That's why they make good GMs. But great players, the guys who just roll out the ball and just amazing, they don't understand numbers. They don't see and dissect the game in a way that you build teams around them, which is why you know a team is heading in the wrong place when they start letting their best player be the GM. It just is. We're not having honest conversations, Nets fans. We're sticking our head in the sands because we're so happy that we have a superstar, which Kyrie is undoubtedly a superstar. Right? And what Stephen Bondy is missing in his quote, and what a lot of people who are pissed off at me is missing from their quotes and takes on this whole situation, is we had this team pretty much last year. We were better. Kenny Atkinson, for whatever reason, was not a fan of D'Angelo Russell. He shot mid-range twos. His style, his syrupy style was not. It wasn't his cup of tea. He has been wishing for Kyrie Irving since then. I think he knew. I can't prove it, but I think he knew he was getting Kyrie. I've said it a million times. He marginalized D'Lo. And it wasn't until he threw in the white towel that he was like, it's not going to work. I'm just going to throw Rodions out there. Let's try this kid. You know, and I know he doesn't know what he's talking about, because he said Rodions reminded him of Mike Dunleavy. Never could there be two players that are different than Rodions and Mike Dunleavy. I've never seen Mike Dunleavy take one step inside of the three-point line and reach the basket. Rodions is like Andre Kirilenko with a jump shot. No one would compare Andre Kirilenko to Mike Dunleavy. Kenny doesn't know what he's doing. He's not a good coach, everybody. I know that team was amazing. You know what he's great at? He's great at calling plays out of timeouts. That's what assistant coaches do, to be honest. You have one guy that's watching how the defense is playing. They tell the head coach. The head coach says, all right, this is how we're going to counter what they're doing. Really quick, here's a play I'm going to draw up. Bomb. Atkinson is excellent at that. And he deserves credit for what's going on, but he has been consistent for the last 3 years. For some reason, he does this thing where he says, I like to have a coach on the floor. Randy Foye, Jared Dudley. But you can't tell me with your good basketball eyes, you can't see that Rodions Kurucs is better than Wilson Chandler is right now. Wilson Chandler is fat and slow right now. He's trying. He's busting his ass. Me and Wilson Chandler, you know what? 6 degrees of separation. We had the same weed man. Same overpriced weed man. Not going to say any names. But, and a couple of Nets